Don't shoot anyone you love.
Colonel, where are you, boy? Step out. It's me, son. I'm a man. Circle up. We're out of here.
Leave my mother.
The ship. Hang on, kid. Jake! Spider!
Go! Go!
Do not test me! You little... Get out! Spider, no! Then do it! Take my hand. We're the fire.
Make no sound, and speak or I cut. I will not ask again. A cage.
Get up! Out of the way, guy!
Wait. Gotcha. Okay, stay with me. What am I doing?
Real big fan of everything you've done. Go! Get out of here! Hold your fire. Keep visual on them. As you can't! Come on.
This game. Lima 1-6, take your shot.
1-6.
Lima 1-6, you are.
This is Blue 1. Shy boys, let's make some.
See any hostile? Fish in a barrel.
Just hold. Hang on. Generally,
100. From here.
They're dying.
Kenny, stop! No, stop. Kill you. You can't do this. You have to. Kenny, stop! Kenny! Dude, you stay back.
Help us. Don't put me down, please, please.
Come on!
I beg you. The people are dying.
Come on! We never quit!
Come on, let's...
Mother, help us. I'm the warrior mother. You are.
That's him. Flank out. Box him in. Come on, bro! Let's go faster, huh? Hungry Raiders, weapons up! Stop! Weapons up! Come on! Get back! Go! Go!
Where?
Come on, we gotta get him! Go, go! Go, 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 go!
Hold on, everyone.
You gotta go! You gotta go! Go, go! Keep going! Go, 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 go! What goes through? Come on! Keep going! Go, 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 go!
Sully, stick together.
No! On!
Behind us!
I can't even think about that.
Air, poison. Because if I got now,
They're gonna kill him.
do you think? As a no. Well, show me how this works. You're the youngest one.
Weapons down!
Dad.
Sully?
No!
Come on.
You.
And that's the magic, see? We'll just go like this. Go on. Here's...
Prepare for sex!
Cut her down. Cut her down, okay? We got you. Come on. She made it. Lung shot. She's bleeding out. Whoa, whoa. Hey, hey.
I'll get you as many as you want. Colonel, you touch me with that thing again, I'm gonna beg to differ. Your next cut.
Spider! This way, you bastards!
Careful with that knife. That's how people...
Here it is.
Joke!
Jake Sully! Spider, there's nothing holding them back. You see what?
Not!
You gotta go. You gotta go right now.
I stay. I will kill Manny!
I know he's here.
One of us!
I want Jake Sully! Hold fire!
Colonel,
Not good enough. You get pregnant ladies, kids. They're just dying away.
this. When I
Die, everybody here die.
gunships hesitate, because we all looked at Gal Pew.
Struck me as all that smoke.
Burn them all.
Let's go. Come on.
Settle up.
Man, we have a big incursion. Banshee right.
Expand it.
Hey guys, today we are diving back into the bioluminescent beauty and the scorched earth of Pandora as we explore the massive saga of Avatar, Fire, and Ash. I put a lot of work into these, so if you like what you see, a like and a subscribe is always appreciated. No worries if not. We are picking up right where the watery chaos left off, but instead of refreshing ocean breezes, we are heading straight into the furnace. Jake Sully is still doing his best to be the ultimate dad of the year, while simultaneously managing a planetary insurgency, which is a resume booster if I ever saw one. After the tragic loss of Neytiri, the Sully family is trying to find some semblance of peace, but peace on Pandora is about as common as a quiet day in a construction zone. The world is changing, and the blue horizon is turning a dusty, suffocating gray. Meanwhile, Spider is caught in the middle. He is still with the Na'vi, but the shadow of his father, Quaritch, looms large. Quaritch is back, of course, but he is different now. He is more animalistic, his recombinant body scarred and weathered. He has been tracking the Sullys through the volcanic wastes, using the RDA's new thermal imaging tech. There's a scene where Spider finds a hidden RDA cache and almost uses a radio to call for help, but then he hears the sound of a Na'vi flute and stops. The conflict in his eyes is palpable. He doesn't know where he belongs, and the Ash people certainly don't make him feel welcome. They see him as a hairless monkey, a remnant of the Sky people that should have been discarded long ago. The middle of the film is dominated by the RDA assault on a sacred site known as the Hearth of Awa. This is a massive crystalline structure located inside an active volcano where the Ash people connect to the planetary network. The RDA wants the crystals for their energy conductivity. The battle is a masterclass in sensory overload. The roar of the RDA's heavy bombers competes with the screams of the Banshees. We hear the metallic clink of spent shell casings hitting the rock and the whoosh of flamethrowers clearing the paths. The Ash people fight with a ferocity that makes the Omaticaya look like pacifists. They use bombs made of volcanic glass and spears tipped with burning resin. It is a chaotic, fiery mess that leaves the landscape looking even more desolate. During the chaos, Neytiri goes on a rampage. She is still fueled by her grief, and she becomes a shadow in the smoke, picking off RDA soldiers with terrifying precision. The thwip of her bow is followed by the wet thud of arrows finding their mark. She is not fighting for the planet anymore, she is fighting for revenge. This creates a rift between her and Jake, who is still trying to find a way to minimize the loss of life. Their arguments are loud and painful, echoing through the stone halls of the Ash People's city. It is a reminder that war doesn't just kill people, it erodes the bonds that hold families together. One of the most interesting world-building details is the introduction of the magma whales. These are massive, armored creatures that live in the subterranean lava rivers. They are the volcanic equivalent of the Tolkien, but they are not peaceful. They are territorial and incredibly powerful. The Ash people use them as living battering rams to collapse RDA tunnels. The sound of a magma whale breaching the surface is like a mountain exploding. The low-frequency rumble vibrates through the theater seats, making you feel the sheer power of the creature. We get a sequence where Loak and Garak have to tame one of these beasts by harmonizing with its internal rhythm. It is a dangerous, pulse-pounding scene that highlights the unique ecosystem of the volcanic north. The RDA's new commander, a man named Henderson, is a pragmatist. He doesn't care about the beauty of Pandora or the spiritual connection of the Na'vi. To him, the planet is just a resource to be exploited. He introduces the cinder gas, a chemical weapon that reacts with the volcanic ash to create a suffocating cloud of toxic smoke. We see the horrific effects of this weapon on the local flora, which withers and turns to black dust in seconds. The sound of the gas canisters popping and the hissing of the escaping vapor is chilling. It is a grim reminder of the technological superiority of the humans and their willingness to destroy everything to get what they want. As the RDA pushes closer to the heart of the volcanic region, the Ash people are forced to make a desperate choice. Varang proposes a plan to trigger a massive eruption that would wipe out the RDA's northern base, but also destroys several nearby Na'vi villages. Jake is horrified by the idea, but the Ash people are desperate. They believe that fire is the only way to purge the sickness that the Sky people have brought. This leads to a three-way conflict: the RDA trying to secure the resource, the Ash people trying to burn it all down, and Jake's family trying to find a middle ground that doesn't involve mass extinction. The climax of the movie takes place at the Forge of the Ancestors, a massive open pit of lava where the final confrontation occurs. The visuals here are stunning, with the orange glow of the magma reflecting off the gray skin of the Ash people and the polished metal of the RDA suits. The choreography of the fight is brutal. We see Jake in a salvaged amp suit fighting a duel with Quaritch, who is riding a scorched wing Banshee. The crunch of metal on metal and the crackle of electrical shorts fill the air. It is a high-stakes battle where one wrong move means falling into the molten rock below. Kiri finally understands her visions during this battle. She realizes that Awa is not just a peaceful forest spirit, but a force of nature that includes the destructive power of the volcano. She uses her connection to tap into the geothermal energy of the planet, causing the ground to erupt beneath the RDA's heavy tanks. The sound of the earth splitting open is a deafening roar that drowns out the sounds of combat. It is a moment of pure, raw power that shows just how much Kiri has grown, but it also leaves her drained and vulnerable, highlighting the cost of such a deep connection to the planet.
In the heat of the final battle, Spider makes his choice. He sees Quaritch about to deliver a killing blow to Jake and intervenes, not by fighting, but by destroying the control unit for the RDA's Reaper drones. This causes the drones to malfunction and crash into the RDA's own lines. It is a subtle but impactful moment. Spider doesn't become a hero in the traditional sense, but he rejects the legacy of his father. The explosion of the drone control hub is a spectacular pyrotechnic display, with blue and white sparks raining down like fireworks over the orange lava. The ending of the battle is bittersweet. The RDA is driven back, and the Bridgehead North facility is destroyed, but the volcanic landscape is left even more scarred. The Ash people have lost their sacred hearth, and many of their warriors have fallen. Varong looks at the destruction and finally shows a flicker of respect for Jake, acknowledging that perhaps the forest dwellers have some steel in them after all. But the alliance is fragile. The Ash people are not going to join the Omaticaya or the Metcaina. They will remain in their scorched lands, a dark reminder of what happens when the balance of nature is pushed too far. The film ends with a quiet moment between Jake and Neytiri. They are sitting on a ridge, watching the sun set through a haze of smoke and ash. The colors are beautiful but tragic, a mix of deep violets and angry reds. They don't talk much. They don't need to. They are tired, and the weight of their journey is visible in their slumped shoulders. Jake reflects on how fire can be used to forge something new, or to turn it into ash. He realizes that the war for Pandora is no longer just about survival. It is about what kind of world will be left when the smoke finally clears. The world building continues to expand the lore of the Na'vi. We learn about the ways of the Ash, a set of laws that govern the volcanic tribes. These laws are much harsher than the song chord of the forest tribes. They emphasize strength, resilience, and the willingness to sacrifice the few for the many. This creates a moral complexity that the previous movies lacked. You can understand why the Ash people are the way they are. They aren't villains, they are the product of their environment. The RDA's cinder gas is finally neutralized in a clever way. Kiri discovers that a certain type of volcanic moss absorbs the toxin and converts it into oxygen. She manages to spread the spores using the thermal updrafts from the volcano, creating a green wave that purifies the air. The visual of the green moss rapidly spreading over the scorched rock is stunning. It is a moment where nature fights back, not with violence, but with biology. The sound of the moss growing is a fast rustling sound that fills the speakers. The film also addresses the environmental impact of the war on Pandora's atmosphere. The massive amount of smoke and ash released during the battles starts to cause a volcanic winter, where the temperature drops and the bioluminescence of the forest begins to fade. This adds a ticking clock to the narrative. If the war doesn't end soon, the entire planet's ecosystem could collapse. It raises the stakes from a local conflict to a global catastrophe. In one of the quieter moments, Jake and Loak have a heart-to-heart while repairing their gear. Jake tells Loak that he is proud of him, not because he is a great warrior, but because he has a good heart. It is a simple, effective scene that resolves some of the tension between father and son. The sound of the whetstone against the knife and the crackle of the small campfire provides a grounded, intimate backdrop to their conversation. It reminds us why we care about these characters in the first place. The character of Varong is a highlight. She is played with a fierce intensity that makes her a worthy foil for Jake and Neytiri. She doesn't have the noble savage tropes that have been criticized in the past. She is a political leader, a military commander, and a grieving mother all at once. Her motivations are clear, and her actions, while extreme, are logical within her worldview. She represents the fire of the title, a force that can warm you or burn you, depending on how you treat it. The RDA's Reaper drones are finally defeated in a massive aerial dogfight. The Na'vi use the volcanic heat to their advantage, baiting the drones into dead zones where the air is too thin for their rotors to work. The sight of dozens of drones falling from the sky like metallic rain is a great visual payoff. The sound of the drones crashing and exploding against the rocks is a rhythmic boom, boom, boom that punctuates the victory. The film also explores the idea of avatar technology from the Na'vi perspective. The Ash people are fascinated and repulsed by Jake. They see his body as a hollow shell and wonder if his soul is truly Na'vi or if it is just a human ghost haunting a blue body. This leads to some profound questions about identity and what it means to belong to a culture. Is it about your blood, or is it about the choices you make? Jake has to prove that his soul is Na'vi, not through a ritual, but through his willingness to die for a people that aren't even his own. The cinematography uses a lot of high contrast lighting. The deep blacks of the volcanic rock and the brilliant oranges of the lava create a look that is very different from the soft, diffused light of the forest or the bright, saturated colors of the ocean. It gives the film a more cinematic, dramatic feel. Every frame looks like a painting. The use of slow motion during the action scenes allows the audience to appreciate the choreography and the detail of the costumes and creatures. The sound of the Na'vi language is also more varied in this film.
The Ash people speak with a harsher, more guttural accent that reflects the roughness of their environment. We hear more of the technical side of the language, with words for things like geothermal pressure and basalt formation. It adds to the sense that this is a fully realized culture with its own unique history and knowledge. As the credits approach, we see the Sully family preparing to leave the volcanic region. They aren't going back to the reef or the forest. They are becoming nomads, traveling across Pandora to unite the different tribes against the RDA. It sets up the next movie perfectly, giving the characters a new mission and a reason to explore even more of the planet. The final shot is of the entire family flying their banshees into a rising sun that is finally clear of smoke. The music swells into a triumphant, hopeful theme that leaves the audience feeling inspired. The world building in the final act includes a glimpse of other regions of Pandora. We see maps and ancient carvings that hint at ice tribes in the south and desert tribes in the west. It expands the scope of the universe, making Pandora feel like a truly vast and diverse world. It leaves you wanting more, eager to see what other wonders and dangers the Sully family will encounter. The fire in this movie is not just a special effect, it is a symbol. It represents the destructive power of war, but also the transformative power of change. The ash represents the past, the things we have lost, and the grief we carry. By bringing these two elements together, the film tells a story about how we can build something new from the ruins of the old. It is a powerful message that resonates in our own world, making the film feel more relevant than ever.
The sensory details really bring the experience to life. You can almost feel the heat on your skin and the grit in your teeth. The sound of the ash falling like snow is a soft hissing sound that is oddly peaceful. The way the characters have to wipe the soot from their eyes and cough from the smoke makes the environment feel like a constant low-level threat. It is a masterclass in immersive storytelling. The humor remains a steady presence. At one point, Jake tries to eat a piece of local fruit that turns out to be incredibly spicy, and his reaction is a moment of genuine physical comedy. Or the way Neytiri rolls her eyes when Jake tries to use a Na'vi idiom and gets it slightly wrong. These small moments of humanity make the blue aliens feel more real than the human characters. The tech of the RDA also gets some screen time. We see the interior of their new command center, which is filled with holographic displays and humming computers. The beep-boop of the technology is a sharp contrast to the organic sounds of the Na'vi. We see how they are using AI to predict Na'vi movements, and how they are trying to map Awa's neural network. It is a scary look at how far the humans are willing to go to dominate the planet. The relationship between Spider and Kiri is also further developed. They share a bond as outsiders, and they often find themselves away from the rest of the group. They have a conversation about whether they could ever go to Earth, and the idea of a world with no trees and no bioluminescence is horrifying to them. It reinforces their commitment to protecting Pandora, even if they aren't fully Na'vi themselves. The film's pacing is excellent. It alternates between massive action set pieces and quiet, character-driven moments. This gives the audience time to breathe and to process the emotional stakes of the story. The transition from the frantic energy of a battle to the stillness of a volcanic cave is handled with great skill. The world of Pandora feels more dangerous in this movie than ever before. It isn't just the RDA, it is the planet itself. The shifting ground, the toxic gases, and the predatory creatures make survival a constant struggle. This makes the Na'vi's connection to the planet even more impressive. They don't just live on Pandora, they live with it, respecting its power and adapting to its changes. The finale is a testament to the power of family. Despite all their arguments and their grief, the Sullys stand together. They have become a formidable team, with each member contributing their unique skills to the fight. Jake's leadership, Neytiri's warrior spirit, Loak's bravery, and Kiri's connection to the planet all come together to save the day. It is a satisfying conclusion to this chapter of their story. The themes of the movie are handled with a light touch. It doesn't preach about environmentalism or the horrors of war. Instead, it shows us the consequences of our actions through the eyes of characters we care about. We see the beauty that is being destroyed and the cost of defending it. It is a much more effective way to get the message across. The world building of the Ash people is something that will be discussed by fans for years. Everything from their unique sign language to their methods of obsidian working is clearly the result of a lot of thought and creativity. It adds a whole new dimension to the Na'vi culture and makes the world of Pandora feel much bigger than just the forest. The movie ends with a sense of anticipation. The war is not over and the RDA is not defeated, But the Na'vi are no longer just defending their homes. They are starting to fight back. They are finding allies in unexpected places and discovering new ways to use the power of their planet. The fire has been lit, and it is going to be very hard to put out. The final moments are filled with a sense of peace. We see the Sullys flying over a landscape that is slowly starting to recover. The ash is being washed away by a gentle rain, and the first hints of green are returning to the scorched earth. The sound of the rain hitting the leaves is a soothing pitter-patter that brings the movie to a calm conclusion. It is a beautiful, hopeful ending that leaves us ready for whatever comes next. This journey through the fires of Pandora reminds us that resilience is not just about surviving the flame, but being forged by it into something stronger. We see that the bonds of family and the connection to the world around us are the only things that can truly sustain us when the earth shakes and the sky turns to ash. Life is a delicate balance of creation and destruction, and finding our place within that cycle is the ultimate challenge. Even in the darkest caves and under the heaviest soot, the light of our spirit and the pulse of the planet continue to beat as one. The movie is a breathtaking expansion of the Avatar universe, offering a darker and more complex look at the world of Pandora. It succeeds by grounding its massive scale in the personal struggles of the Sully family, making every explosion and every discovery feel like it has real weight. The introduction of the Ash People adds a fascinating new layer to the Na'vi culture, proving that this franchise still has plenty of stories to tell. What kind of world will be left for the next generation of Na'vi to inherit?
The world building throughout the movie is so dense that you almost need a second viewing to catch everything. For example, the way the Ash People use bioluminescent fungus to light their tunnels because torches would consume too much oxygen is a brilliant little detail. Or the way their banshees have thicker skin to deal with the abrasive ash in the air. These small touches make the world feel lived in and real. The RDA tech also feels like a natural evolution, with more rugged, industrial designs that look like they were built to survive a hellscape. The contrast between the cold blue light of the RDA screens and the warm, flickering orange of the Na'vi fires is a recurring visual theme that reinforces the central conflict. The humor in the script mostly comes from the younger generation. Loak has some great one-liners about how everything on Pandora either wants to eat you or burn you alive. At one point, he looks at a particularly angry-looking volcanic crab and asks if it comes with butter. These moments of levity are important because the rest of the movie is quite heavy. Even Took gets it on the action, making fun of Loak's intense warrior face when he is actually just trying to avoid breathing in soot. It keeps the characters grounded and relatable, even when they are riding dragons over rivers of lava. The soundtrack deserves a mention as well. It incorporates tribal drumming with a heavy, industrial undertone. There are moments where the music drops out entirely, leaving only the sound of the wind howling through the basalt pillars. It creates a sense of isolation and grandeur. When the action kicks in, the brass section blares with a dissonant, aggressive energy that perfectly matches the ferocity of the Ash People. The thump-thump of the drums mimics the heartbeat of the volcano, creating a rhythmic tension that never quite lets up. One of the standout scenes involves a trek through a glass forest, where the volcanic eruptions have turned the trees into obsidian sculptures. The sound of the Na'vi moving through this area is a delicate tinkling sound, like thousands of wind chimes. But it is also incredibly dangerous, as the glass is razor sharp. We see a sequence where a group of RDA soldiers tries to chase them through the glass forest and gets shredded because their heavy boots and armor are too loud and clumsy. It is a great example of how the environment itself can be a character in the story. The relationship between the Na'vi and their mounts is also explored further. We see how the Ash People have a much more dominant, almost aggressive bond with their scorched-wing banshees. It is not the Tsailu of mutual respect we saw with the Omaticaya, but a bond forged in necessity and survival. This adds another layer to the Na'vi culture, showing that they are not a monolithic people. They have different values, different religions, and different ways of interacting with the world around them.
The RDA's Reaper drones are a technological marvel in the film. They operate using a swarm intelligence that makes them incredibly difficult to hit. We see a scene where 100 of these drones move in perfect unison, like a school of fish, to surround a group of Na'vi warriors. The sound is a high-pitched whine that gets louder as they approach. It is a terrifying sound that signifies the loss of human agency in the RDA's warfare. The drones don't have pilots, they just have objectives. This makes them feel colder and more relentless than the human soldiers. Kiri's arc is perhaps the most philosophical part of the movie. She spends a lot of time questioning why Iowa would allow such destruction. She has a conversation with the spirit of Grace Augustine inside the network, and the dialogue is haunting. Grace explains that fire is a necessary part of the cycle, clearing away the old to make room for the new. But Kiri isn't satisfied with that. She doesn't want to see her world burn. Her struggle to reconcile the beauty of life with the necessity of death is the emotional heart of the film. The film also takes the time to show the human side of the RDA. We see some of the engineers and scientists who are just trying to do their jobs in a hostile environment. They are exhausted, scared, and many of them don't even want to be there. There is a scene in the mess hall where a group of workers talks about how much they miss the rain on Earth, even if it was acidic and gray. It reminds the audience that the humans are not just faceless monsters. They are a desperate species trying to save themselves, even if they are doing it in the worst way possible. As the story moves towards its conclusion, the sense of scale is breathtaking. We see wide shots of the volcanic range, with dozens of active peaks venting smoke into the atmosphere. The sky is a permanent shade of bruised purple. The world feels massive and ancient, and the characters feel small in comparison. This sense of scale is one of the things that makes the Avatar series so special. It isn't just a story about a family. It is a story about a planet. The Ash People City is a masterpiece of production design. It is built into the side of a massive caldera, with dwellings carved directly into the rock. The architecture is sharp and angular, reflecting the harshness of the environment. There are no soft edges here. Everything is made of stone, bone, and metal. The central plaza features a massive fire well where the community gathers for rituals. The heat from the well is so intense that you can see the air shimmering. The sound of the chanting voices reflecting off the stone walls is deep and resonant, creating a powerful sense of community.
There is a subplot involving a group of Na'vi who have been captured by the RDA and forced to work in the geothermal plant. Jake leads a rescue mission that is one of the most tense sequences in the film. They have to move silently through the industrial corridors, avoiding the click of security cameras and the hum of the energy conduits. It feels like a heist movie for a few minutes, with the Na'vi using their natural agility to navigate the mechanical environment. The payoff is a satisfying explosion that shuts down the plant and allows the prisoners to escape into the smoke. The dialogue throughout the movie is more mature than in previous installments. There is less focus on the wonder of discovery and more on the reality of conflict. Jake's internal monologue, narrated by Loak, provides a bridge between the movies. Loak's voice is raspier, more certain. He talks about how he used to think the world was simple, divided into good and evil, but now he sees only the gray of the ash. It is a cynical but honest perspective that reflects the shifting tone of the series. The final shot of the movie is a close-up of a single green sprout pushing through a layer of cooling lava. It is a classic image of hope, but in the context of this movie, it feels hard-earned. The sound is a tiny crack as the plant breaks the surface. It is a small sound, but in the silence of the wasteland, it is enough. It tells us that Pandora will endure, even if its people are changed forever by the fire.
The piece is shattered when a group of Na'vi they have never seen before arrives on the backs of strange, leathery creatures that look like banshees that spent too much time in a toaster. These are the Ash People, led by a formidable woman named Varang. Unlike the blue Na'vi we are used to, these people have a gray, soot-like complexion, and their clothes are made of woven basalt and obsidian shards. They do not come for trade or friendship. They come with a warning. The RDA has pushed too far into the volcanic north, and the fires they have ignited are not just burning the trees, but waking up the ancient spirits of the earth. Varang looks at Jake with a mixture of pity and contempt, calling him the dreamwalker who brings nothing but ruin. It is a great way to start a conversation, really. Just walk up to someone and tell them they are a walking disaster. Jake, being the professional problem solver that he is, decides that the only way to protect the reef is to deal with the threat in the north. This leads to a massive migration sequence that makes the trek to the reef look like a weekend camping trip. We get to see the transition from the vibrant blues and greens of the coast to the harsh, monochromatic landscape of the volcanic wastes. The air becomes thick with sulfur, and the sound of bubbling magma replaces the gentle lapping of waves. The world building here is incredible. We see how the Ash People have adopted to this environment. They live in massive lava tubes that provide natural protection from the elements and the RDA's aerial surveys. Their society is built on the concept of the eternal forge, where fire is seen as a tool of creation and destruction. They do not worship Ewa in the same way the forest tribes do. To them, Ewa is a harsh mistress who demands sacrifice in exchange for warmth. The RDA is not sitting idle while Jake moves his family. General Ardmore has been replaced by a new figure, a man who treats the colonization of Pandora like a corporate restructuring project. They have built a new facility called the Bridgehead North, which is essentially a giant geothermal plant designed to harvest the energy of the planet's core.
The sound design in these scenes is metallic and grinding. You can hear the screech of heavy machinery and the rhythmic thud of the pile drivers sinking deep into the ground. It is a jarring contrast to the organic sounds of the Na'vi villages. The RDA has also deployed new tech, including the Reaper drones, which are smaller, faster versions of the Scorpion gunships, designed for high-heat environments. They look like angry mechanical wasps, and they sound even worse.
Kiri is the one who notices the changes first. Her connection to Awa is evolving, and in the volcanic regions, she starts to hear a different heartbeat. It is slower, deeper, and much more violent. She spends a lot of time pressing her ear against the cooling lava flows, listening to the movement of the tectonic plates. There is a beautiful scene where she interacts with a swarm of fire midges, tiny bioluminescent insects that thrive on heat. They swirl around her in a vortex of orange and gold, and the sound is like a soft hum that vibrates in the chest. It is a reminder that even in the harshest environments, Pandora is alive. But this connection also scares her. She starts to see visions of a great fire that consumes the entire world, and she can't tell if it is a memory of the past or a warning of the future. Loak is also struggling. He feels the need to prove himself after the events of the last movie, and he finds a strange kind of kinship with the Ash people. Their aggression and their directness appeal to him. He strikes up a tense friendship with a young warrior named Garak, who teaches him how to ride the scorched wing banshees. These creatures are built for endurance, and their wings make a heavy flapping sound that echoes through the canyons. The training sequences are intense, with Loak nearly falling into a pit of molten rock more than once. It is a classic coming-of-age story, but with much higher stakes and a lot more volcanic ash in the lungs. The tension between the Ash people and the Solis reaches a breaking point during a ritual called the Tempering. It is a trial by fire where warriors must navigate a maze of steam vents and shifting rock. Jake tries to participate to show his respect, but his avatar body is not built for the heat. He struggles, and the Ash people mock him, calling him a soft forest dweller. The dialogue here is sharp, with Varang pointing out that Jake's version of leadership is just a series of retreats and hiding spots. She believes that the only way to stop the RDA is to burn them out, even if it means burning half the planet in the process. It is a dark mirror of the forest tribe's philosophy, and it forces Jake to question his own methods.
In the midst of the carnage, Kiri does something unexpected. She doesn't fight with weapons. She connects with the planet on a level that defies explanation. She presses her hands to the ground, and you can hear a shift in the frequency of the world. The chaotic roar of the volcano begins to find a rhythm. The lava flows don't just spill out randomly. They seem to move with purpose, cutting off the RDA's path and protecting the Na'vi. It is a moment of pure wonder, a reminder that Pandora is not just a setting, but a character in its own right. The sound of the shifting earth becomes a low, melodic hum that drowns out the mechanical screams of the human machines. The battle ends with a Pyrrhic victory. The RDA is driven back, their massive refinery a smoking wreck in the caldera. But the cost is high, the landscape is forever changed, and the alliance between the clans is fragile. Varang stands atop a peak, looking out over her scorched domain. She acknowledges Jake, not as a leader, but as a survivor. The sound of the settling ash is a soft, shushin noise, like falling snow, but heavier and more permanent. The family gathers together, battered and bruised, but still standing. They have survived the fire, but they know that the ash will remain for a long time. We see a final moment between Spider and the Sully children. He is still an outsider, a human in a world that is increasingly hostile to his kind. But he saved them, and that counts for something. The sound of their quiet conversation is a soft murmur against the backdrop of the cooling lava. They talk about the future, about the wars to come, and about the home they are still trying to build. The camera pans up, showing the vastness of Pandora, a world of blue and green, and now a deep, burning red. The music swells, a complex arrangement of tribal drums and ethereal vocals that capture the dual nature of the planet. The world of Pandora has expanded in ways we never expected, showing us that even in a place of such vibrant life, there is a core of fire that can both create and destroy. We have seen the strength of family and the power of unity, but we have also seen the deep scars that history and conflict leave behind. As the ash settles over the mountains and the survivors begin to rebuild, we are reminded that the struggle for balance is never truly over, and that every end is simply a new beginning in the cycle of life and death that defines this beautiful, dangerous moon.
This movie is a visually stunning exploration of the darker corners of Pandora that manages to raise the stakes both emotionally and physically. It is not just a sequel, it is a deepening of the lore that makes the world feel more grounded and complex than ever before. What do you think about the Ash people and their brutal way of life? And do you think Jake can ever truly find peace in a world that seems destined for war? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Meanwhile, Spider is caught in the middle of a literal and metaphorical war zone. He is still with the RDA, but his heart is clearly with the Sullys. He watches as the humans prepare their assault on the volcanic regions. The sound of the briefings is a cold, clinical drone of military jargon. They talk about resource extraction and strategic suppression as if they are not planning to wipe out an entire culture. Spider sees the new weapons being prepped, including massive sonic vibrators designed to cause artificial earthquakes and collapse the lava tubes. The high-pitched whine of these machines is enough to make your ears bleed. He knows he has to warn Jake, but he is under constant surveillance. The tension between the Ash people and the Sullys reaches a breaking point when a scouting party of RDA soldiers is spotted near the sacred vents. Varang wants to strike immediately, to burn the Sky people where they stand. Jake, ever the tactician, wants to lure them into a trap. This leads to a heated argument that highlights the world building of the Na'vi political landscape. We see that the different clans are not a monolith. They have different values, different gods, and different ways of war. The sound of the argument is a cacophony of shouting and the rhythmic pounding of fists on stone tables. In the end, they reach a shaky truce, but the trust is thin. The first major skirmish happens in a narrow canyon filled with geothermal geysers. The sound of the steam erupting is like a series of jet engines firing off at random. The RDA arrives in their new heat-resistant AMP suits, their footsteps a heavy metallic crunch on the volcanic glass. The Na'vi of the Ash people use the environment to their advantage, disappearing into the steam and reappearing with obsidian spears that shatter on impact. The chaos of the battle is a symphony of violence. You hear the hiss of the steam, the roar of the guns, and the high-pitched screams of the Ikran as they dive through the clouds. Jake is in the thick of it, his rifle barking out a steady rhythm. Neytiri is a shadow in the mist, her arrows finding the weak points in the human armor with a sickening thud. Despite their victory in the canyon, the Sullys realize that the RDA was just testing their defenses. The real threat is coming. General Ardmore has authorized the use of a massive mobile refinery that acts as a forward operating base. This thing is a titan of steel and fire, crawling across the landscape on massive treads that crush everything in their path. The sound of its approach is a low, earth-shaking rumble that can be heard from miles away. It smells of diesel and burnt ozone, a stench that masks the natural scent of the planet. The Ash people are horrified. To them, this machine is the ultimate blasphemy, a creature of cold iron that eats the sacred earth. As the final battle approaches, we see the different cultures of Pandora coming together in a way we have never seen. The Reef people arrive, led by Tonawari, their mounts splashing through the coastal waters before taking to the skies. The Omatikia join them, their colorful war paint a bright contrast to the gray ash. The sound of the combined war cries is a deafening roar that echoes through the mountains. It is a moment of pure cinematic scale. The world building comes full circle as we see how the biology and technology of each clan complement one another. The agility of the forest dwellers, the stamina of the sea people, and the raw power of the ash warriors. The climax of the movie takes place at the heart of the Great Vent. The RDA has deployed their sonic weapons and the ground is literally falling apart. The sound of the earth cracking is a series of bone-jarring booms that feel like the world is ending. Lava begins to spill out of the fissures, turning the battlefield into a maze of fire. Quaritch and Jake finally have their showdown, and it is not just a fight, it is a clash of ideologies. They are two men who have both been shaped by the same military machine, but they have taken wildly different paths. The sound of their blades clashing is a sharp metallic ring that cuts through the roar of the volcano.
The story begins with the heavy, rhythmic thrum of RDA engines cutting through the silence of the morning. You can almost feel the vibration in your teeth as those massive metal beasts descend from the stars. General Ardmore is not exactly a fan of losing, and she has brought some new toys to the party. We see the expansion of Bridgehead City, a sprawling metallic cancer eating away at the coastline. The sound of heavy machinery grinding against ancient stone is constant, a metallic screech that sets the tone for the industrial nightmare the humans are building. Jake watches from the shadows, his face etched with a weariness that only a man who has died once and been reborn as a 10-foot-tall blue alien can truly understand. He is looking at his children, Lok and Tuk and Kiri, and you can see the weight of the world on his shoulders. Neytiri is there too, her eyes like smoldering embers. She has not forgotten the blood spilled on the rocks of the archipelago, and her bow is never far from her hand. They decide that the sea is no longer safe enough. The RDA knows their tactics now. They need allies, and they need a place where the human technology might struggle to follow. This leads them on a long journey across the scorched plains and toward the volcanic mountain ranges that dominate the central continent. The air changes from the salty mist of the reef people to a dry, sulfurous haze that catches in the throat. The sound of the wind here is different too. It is a lonely, whistling sound as it whips through pillars of obsidian and basalt. Jake leads his family on the backs of their Ikron, the leathery snap of wings echoing against the jagged cliffs. They are heading toward the territory of the Ash people, a clan that even the forest Na'vi speak of in hushed, nervous tones. When they finally arrive at the Great Vent, the scale of the world building really hits you. This is not the lush jungle we know. This is a landscape of fire and shadow. Rivers of glowing orange magma snake through the valleys like the veins of a living god. The heat is a physical presence, a shimmering wall that makes the air dance. The Ash people do not live in trees or underwater. They live in the hollowed-out lava tubes and the carved faces of the volcanoes themselves. The architecture is brutal and sharp, made of dark stone and bone. We meet Varong, the leader of this clan, and she is nothing like Ronal or Moat. She is sharp, aggressive, and looks like she would punch a mountain if it looked at her wrong. The sound of her voice is like gravel grinding together, a harsh contrast to the melodic tones of the Omatakea.
Varong does not welcome the Sullys with open arms. To her, Jake is a ghost of a dead world and a reminder of the Sky People. There is a great tension in their first meeting. You can hear the crackle of the ceremonial fires and the low, rhythmic chanting of the Ash People in the background. They do not worship Eywa in the way the others do. They see her as a harsh mother, one who burns away the weak to make room for the strong. This philosophy is reflected in everything they do. Their clothes are made of thick, heat-resistant hides, and their skin is a muted, dusty shade of blue, almost gray from the constant exposure to volcanic dust. They use fire as a tool and a weapon, which is a huge taboo for most Na'vi. The sound of their blacksmiths hammering away at obsidian blades is a constant metallic clang that echoes through the tunnels. As the Sullys try to integrate, or at least survive, we see the RDA making moves. Miles Quaritch is back, and he is more obsessed than ever. He is not just a soldier anymore. He is a predator who has learned from his mistakes. He has been spending time in his own avatar body, honing his skills, and nursing a grudge that could power a starship. The sound of his breathing is ragged and intense, a constant reminder of his singular focus. He is working with a new division of the RDA that specializes in high-heat environments. They have these new thermal suits that hiss with escaping steam and clatter with every mechanical step. They look like walking tanks designed to survive the literal gates of hell. Back at the volcano, Kiri is experiencing something strange. Her connection to the world has always been unique, but here, the pulse of the planet feels different. It is not the gentle heartbeat of the forest or the rhythmic tide of the ocean. It is a deep, booming throb that comes from the very core of Pandora. She spends her time sitting near the lava flows, her eyes glazed over as she listens to things no one else can hear. The sound design here is incredible, with low-frequency hums and the occasional explosive pop of a gas bubble in the magma. Kiri believes that the Ash People are not villains, but protectors of a different side of nature. She sees the necessity of the fire, the way it clears the old to make way for the new. This creates a rift between her and Neytiri, who sees the fire as only a source of destruction. Lok is also finding his place, but in a much more physical way. He is drawn to the warrior culture of the Ash People. He wants to prove himself, to show that he is not just the son who got his brother killed. He starts training with the young warriors of the clan. The sound of their sparring is a sequence of heavy thuds, the slap of skin on skin, and the occasional grunt of pain. They use staves made of petrified wood that crack like thunder when they collide. Lok is fast, but the Ash People are brutal. They fight with a desperation that he has never seen. They teach him that in the fire, you do not have the luxury of grace. You only have the necessity of survival.